Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the post-Rapture recap for Season 2, Episode 6 of Golden Gate. I am somebody who, fortunately, was not eliminated by Maddie in today's Omni competition. I'm Gible. I will be your host. We are here with not only the sixth person eliminated, give you a brief second to sort of click off if you have not watched the sixth episode yet, but I am here with the host of Golden Gates, somebody who looks great in a blacklight neon set. It is, of course, Kyle Gates. How are you doing?
Hi, doing great. How are you?
I'm doing awesome. Again, if you have not watched the episode, this is your last warning. I'm going to bring them up on stage in a second. So click away, go watch the episode number 6. It's the one where the Omni is them stepping on dots. With that being said, I'm here joined by someone who thankfully has not had their hot girl privilege revoked. It is, of course, hot girl Chris. How are you doing?
I will never have my hot girl privileges revoked. We all know this. I'm doing well, Gible. Thank you so much for having me. This is so
Of
fun.
course. Thank you for taking the time out of your day to do this. So tell us, what has your reaction been like getting to finally watch back the episodes after all these months, and seeing how people talked about you and how you talked about other people?
Oh, they hated the hot girl. It was actually really funny because I love seeing everybody's versions of their own game and actually seeing their confessionals. Because I am the type of person that I can totally separate game versus like personal. So I knew all of it going into it was just from like a game standpoint. So it was like actually really refreshing to see how much people hated me in the game.
I certainly think that, of course, in these last few episodes, but even since the start, you were one of the most talked about people. Definitely a big personality. So can you sort of tell us, how did you adopt the hot girl mentality? Where did this, I don't want to call it a character because it seems genuine, but where did this persona come from?
So it actually genuinely is not a character. This is kind of like how I live my life. On top of being one of Megan Thee Stallion's best fans. So it actually started in like coronavirus COVID city, where we were all just, doing our things, playing orgs, playing games in our houses. I used to weigh a lot heavier than what I did now. And I kind of like wore t-shirts for hair. It was a whole persona getup. I have pictures. And after I came in touch with like my weight loss and everything, I just kind of like transferred that persona to like a normal general life, to where I'm just living life unapologetically myself and just self-dubbing like hot girl privileges. So yeah, what started as like an org thing came as to like an actual way of life. So yeah.
Yeah. We do see you in this first episode. You have a pretty big role. You are paired up with John in this opening competition. How much of a struggle was it to try and throw that competition when Logan and Mike could not put a single piece in?
It was so bad, and honestly, like I have still gotten text messages be like, "Did you purposely not mean to turn the puzzle over?" And I was like, "No, that was actually accidental. Like I did." That part of the whole puzzle making was actually accidental. But Logan literally tells us that he wants to win the Omni. So John and I are like, "Yeah, we're here for it. Yeah, we're partnered up together, of course." And then mid puzzle making, I just look over and I see them like 3 puzzle pieces together, and I'm just like, fuck. So, and of course, like John's blindfolded, so he can't even see it, but he can already like pick up like through my voice is like how I'm feeling, and I'm like, yeah, we gotta, and I'm just like, yeah, we gotta win this. So there we are.
I think one of the marks of your early game is that you spent, I think, pretty much your first 2 or 3 votes, you voted for the person who went home. Was that part of your strategy? Was that sort of sympathy votes, or can you sort of walk us through why you made those decisions?
Yes and no. I will say definitely it was a part of my strategy, but also going into a game like Golden Gates of that nature, you definitely don't want to vocalize that you're voting in minority that early. Definitely not. But also I did feel as though I owed it to both Mike and Grace for not just having like a sympathy vote, but those were 2 people that I knew of or met going into the game that I actively wanted to stand by them. So that was I felt it very fortunate because when I was talking about the game with John the other day, I was like, my game kind of crumbled really early because all the people that I actively wanted to work with got out really early.
Yeah.
so, and obviously, like everybody goes into a certain live game with like your pre-existing connections, and obviously you want to work with those types of people. But I do like to venture out and have new bonds, which I do like to think I kind of did that as well. But definitely in the early stages of the game, I definitely felt as though I owed it to both Mike and Grace. So, like, make sure that they stayed, as well as obviously they were going to have my vote regardless. And it wasn't shown that much, but I damn as well did try. So, yeah.
People kept calling it a hinky vote, and I'm like, it's not a hinky vote if it's public.
It's not public. It was public, and they kept calling me Hanky Vote Christy, so I just went with it.
It's more like a hot girl vote, not a hinky vote.
Hey, so dub it. I'm telling you.
We'll have to redub it. Maybe we'll put it in the Golden Gates lexicon for season 3. One of the things that I think Logan did in episode 2, of course, Logan notoriously has great reads on the game. He talked a lot about the dual alliance, which was you, John, himself, and Mike. Was this something that you valued at all? Because it seems like Logan might be the only person who cared about that episode 1 group of 4.
So it's unfortunate because Mike goes home in episode 2, right? So
yeah.
I did feel as though like I had allegiance to Logan, and especially when you go into like the next episode of episode 4, when it's myself, Logan, and Koa in the pits, and we're all trying to do a good back high kick, and none of us are succeeding. And what we did mention is that we all kind of like had this like little moment of, hey, let's work with each other and get off the other person, and like we all kind of did it. We all knew what was up, but I did feel as though I did have some allegiance to Logan, as well as I kind of didn't in a way. Like it's kind of mean, but like I genuinely, when I was looking at Logan in the eyes with him, I was like, I want to work with you. I really do. I feel as though we're kind of like on the outs together and all of this stuff. But then, case in point, he also had other allegiances. I also had other allegiances too. So it was kind of like very, very hard to kind of like figure that out together. But I did want to work with Logan. Obviously, I wanted to work with everybody, but I did want to prioritize that 4, even though it kind of wasn't like shown all that much.
Yeah. In episode 2, I wanted to give you your flowers because you were the only person, at least who verbalized, to know what RSTLE means. So I was the whole time I was yelling at my screen. I'm like, somebody. Were you? I don't think you were one of the people, because a lot of people love to throw the competitions. You were one of the people who was okay winning them. Tell us, could you walk us through the strategy of trying to win competitions while everyone else was throwing them?
There wasn't, honestly. Honestly, I can honestly tell you there probably wasn't as much strategy on my end. I just kind of did what I wanted to do, and it kind of bit me in the butt a little bit later. Fine, but I will say I definitely I wanted to win that because I am very hard on myself when I know that there's a competition that I can actually do extremely well in and then don't win it. So, and obviously spelling and Wheel of Fortune, come on. Come on. But I knew that going into that respective competition, I knew there's something that I knew that I could win. And did I feel in danger? No. But did I feel as though like I wanted to kind of like, have that sense of security and safety net? Yes.
Yeah. Let me pull up my notes. I think if you could take a still from each episode and put it on the wall for next season, which I think Kyle said he might do. There's a great image after the drag where Mike is standing and he pushes you like in a corner and you're all curled up. What was that like for you?
I was curled up because also like Mike is somebody that I've met outside of LRGs and orgs, and Mike I consider a very dear friend. So I definitely wanted to like try to make sure that he was, like safe on top of everything, him still being the house target. But there's a great still of me, and I know that there's somewhere, some way that someone hasn't screenshotted it yet, but somebody will, of me touching his chin. And I'm like, Mike, you already have the hot girl privileges. Like, come on, like you got my vote. Like let's get you to safety. And then,
Yeah.
So
Didn't
I
work
didn't
out
feel
so
like
well for
anything.
him.
I didn't feel like anything bad about being backed into a corner. Like obviously, I was backed into a corner probably like the whole game, but I definitely wanted to keep Mike safe. But there's gonna be a lot of great still images of me. Case in point, the one that's on my Instagram story
Yeah.
right now.
I haven't seen yet, but I'm sure you'll be curled up in a blanket for the Dark Council very soon.
It's gonna be meme city. I
Yeah.
can't wait. I can't wait.
So in the episode 3 Omni, it gets down to a second tiebreaker between you, Ben, and Ty. Did you feel like you were in a position where Ty and Ben would not put you up at this point?
It's so funny that you bring this up because like I at this point in time like I didn't even feel like I was like that threatening or let alone kind of like a house target. And this is episode 3, so I did John Wells hates me for this, and I know, and we have already talked about this, but like I didn't prioritize my relationships, especially after winning Power of Protection that round, and I didn't actively feel like John was in necessary sense of danger either. But in the Omni, I mean, this was also kind of like my timeline of still wanting to prove it to myself that yeah, I can win, and definitely wanted to have my mark on the game really truly. So yeah, but with Ben and Ty, like Ben and Ty are obviously really good game players, and they make you feel really comfortable, even though you've only talked to them for all of 5 seconds. And I definitely did feel like some sorts of like sense of comfortability with both of them, albeit with everybody, but definitely did feel comfortable. And if they were to win, I feel as though I would have been okay, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, speaking of winning, you get your first win in this episode where you type in 518. I think there were 24 combinations, and you got it on the third try, and that was after Maddie had already tried to. I don't know if you exchanged information. Did you have a lucky guess? Was 518 your number? What was the strategy going for that?
The hot girl luck came out of me. I marched in there, and after Maddie did it twice, and I just like 518. It actually was a little bit funny behind the scenes. The lock was broken, and the lock was broken. So we actually genuinely just had to like say our numbers to Kyle, and I was like 518, and then he was like, yeah, that's right. I was like, shut the fuck up. I was like, no way. And like obviously you could tell going out, like you could see like Maddie being happy for me, but also being upset in the same still. But no, like I genuinely, when I went in there and I just said 518, that was very lucky for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You get to spend some time in the gates this episode, and then we bring you back down for episode 4. So what's it? You don't do very well in the Omni competition. Yeah, what was your strategy for Weight Watchers, and how did it sort of fall apart?
Honestly, I didn't really have that much of strategy in there either. But like that, like feeling the cups and like whatever, trying to get all of that other stuff, and like trying to put like pebbles into that too. It was hard. It was actually genuinely hard. But yeah, I didn't do so hot in that one. But you can't win them all.
One of the things we don't get to see on camera, but it's talked about, is I think the quote was that you ran your mouth while you were drunk during the second night, or first night going into the second. Tell us a little about that. Yeah.
Okay, so behind the scenes tea, I did run my mouth, and it was so funny because it was Maddie, German, and Danny in like a corner. I want to say it was those 3 in a corner, and I marched up to Rachel, who is my blabbermouth final 2, obviously, and go like, oh my god, look at them, they're plotting and scheming and talking. Didn't think that it was going to get back around with anybody, but it's also just me being campy and candid and like fun, because that's just how I am as a person. And then it gets back to me. German wins Omni, and he goes, I'm putting you up, and this is why. And I'm like, oh, okay. and it was like that moment obviously was a little bit crossfaded, totally, but that moment just kind of set the tone of how like the game went a little bit more for me. And that is one of my regrets, blabbermouthing to Rachel, just having a little bit of campy fun, but it's fine.
Yeah.
I wouldn't change a thing.
I just want to get this straight. You told a secret to Rachel and didn't expect her to tell anyone else?
Love the girl. What can you say?
So you get placed in the pits, of course, with Koa and Logan. What do you feel like going into this safety trial? What do you feel like your odds are against either of them? And is there anyone that you wanted to make sure did not win the safety?
I guess like my read on the game is I didn't really figure out like how well socially connected like Koa was. Pack it up, Rachel. Yes, I did. I love Rachel. Yeah. I didn't realize how well socially connected Koa was, and like there was a time, like even after what transcends later in this episode, that I guess I didn't want Koa to necessarily win because like I feel as though like there not to say that we weren't like enemies but we just didn't really have strong social bonds with each other to where I did have a more of a social bond with Logan at this point in time after episode 1 and everything. So Koa was somebody that I wouldn't like to have seen win, but you know,
yeah,
can't have it. We can't have it all what we want, you know.
Yeah. Speaking of Koa, could you talk about what are your thoughts on the showman's boa that they had?
That showman's is actually really funny because other people have talked about it in the episode, but we waited a solid 10 minutes for those two to come back from the pier. We waited a solid 10, 15 minutes. And like everybody was here, Prod was doing with their thing, and like we were getting ready for the next episode. We're like, we're missing 2 people. And like we're missing 2 people. Like, and I'm like, where's Ben? And they're like, where's Koa? Like, we are waiting for them for a solid hot minute, and nobody really thought of it then until like, you know, like after you get out and then you hear all this other stuff like, oh, Ben and Koa are at a showman. So I'm like, duh, they were out there on the lake for 10 minutes. Like, of course, but we were waiting a hot minute for them just to like start the round. But it was I thought it was cute. I think every season needs some sort of love interaction, and I'm very happy that it happened between those two.
Yeah. So Ben comes to you and he tells you this information that you're probably going home. You're not really in the best spot. When you go to Koa, do you know that people or do you expect Beck specifically to then have you in a position where, okay, let's keep the drama in and get Rachel out? Or was it just like, all right, F it, I'm just going to fight Koa because it's great TV?
Honestly, like I was just a little bit of like heated in the moment because like obviously you feel as though like you're in the pits and like you're trying to do whatever you can to make yourself like survive. And then after hearing information from other people and then getting told what the truth is like from somebody else, obviously I'm like the hot girl comes out in waves. So I'm going to, do what I can to, make sure it's not me. But what I didn't really recognize is the fact that people would have harped on it. I'm glad that people did harp on it and made the move to keep the drama in. And I'm glad that it wasn't that, my expertise, my ass. But I definitely didn't think that it was going to, go as big as it did. But also Ko and I are both hotheads and we're going to do everything that we can to make sure it's like us. So yeah, I love a banter. I love a banter. I can dish and I can take. So yeah.
Well, we obviously see how your relationship with Beck changes in episode 6, but did you realize how much that Maddie and Beck were pushing for you to stay in the game?
I knew Maddie. I did not realize it was Beck at all. But I also knew that Maddie and Beck were really, really close. But I knew Maddie was kind of like a more strong arming in the sense. And thank you, Maddie. I will forever owe that to
you. You do stay, and it seems like, were you surprised that Koa stayed with you?
No,
yeah.
I wasn't. No, I was hoping that he wouldn't, obviously, because it was like me, Koa, and Rachel, and like I would have loved if it was both Rachel and I. But at that point in time in the game, like I could tell like where people were kind of like leaning to. I could tell like who people were talking to people, and also what one of the downfall is for me is that I kind of watch season 1 in a nutshell in like a 3-day time frame. So I'm trying to understand everything before going in, and then don't do that season 3. Just don't do that season 3. Don't do that. But you know, I knew Koa was probably going to stay, given that he was already in the gates previously, and that he also formed kind of social bonds down there, as well as talking to other people well in the game too. So yeah, but I was shocked. I wasn't shocked that it was between me and Rachel, and I was a little bit shocked that it was me that stayed over Rachel. Yeah.
Did you realize how much campaigning that Danny had done to make sure that you go home?
Boy, they're a little fun one, aren't they? I have so much love in the role for Danny, and like Danny and I actually think that kind of like play similar games, but like they just play it better. But no, I did not realize how bad I was. Not how bad I was in their eyes, but no, it's all in good nature and it's all in good campy fun. So yes, I did not realize that though.
Yeah. Ben seems very happy that you're in the game. Julia thinks you're a little bit of a mastermind. You obviously, I mean, you know that you're the house target right now. Do you have any plans, anyone that you wanted to target specifically going into the double trial? Or the fast forward, sorry.
I mean, I was kind of like I was obviously like, again, like speaking about a little bit openly, and honestly back then, like time makes you feel really, really good. Also playing the game. So like, and obviously like I felt good with him, but we didn't, again, like case in point, the only time that we kind of like had the same game together was round 2, when I was like, yeah, no, we have tattoo sleeves, we're gonna work together, let's do it.
Yeah.
So definitely I do feel as though like I was going to, you know, if I had it my way, had Ty up there, as well as, you know, Koa and we fought, but also it didn't really kind of like, you know, where his head was at. And even after the fight, like I know like there was like always, you know, there were times where after the fight, when we would talk and be like, okay, well, everybody's gonna think that we hate each other, and now like maybe like we don't. So, but always like in the back of my mind is like, you know. And then I guess my mistake is that everybody has a really good social game, and everybody that I wanted to target, I would have been like a round 2 Logan episode, where the people that were up in the pits, where we were like, oh, this is not it. like, oh, this is not it. So yeah, it was very daunting to see yourself as kind of like treated as like house target, house pariah for a second, but also it's kind of fun because I've never actually been in that role.
We talked a little bit about that. All of your allies went early on. Is it a stretch to say that John coming back was the worst for the 4 options that it could have been for you?
No, because any of them coming back would have been perfect for me.
Okay.
Like, and like I did feel as though like I didn't prioritize John in that moment, and like John and I obviously have talked about it, and I will forever be apologetic for that. But still, John coming back, he would have been more mad at other people, less mad at me, because I just know I've just made myself safe and took Trish with me. Hey, well, but I mean, any of them coming back would have been good for me. And but I do feel as though like some people, I feel as though I would have been fucked either way. Like I feel like my game story arc ends at episode 6, and I'm proud of that.
Yeah. You do end up dragging German in this fast forward round. Was there anyone else you even considered dragging, or did you always know that German was your guy?
I do feel as though like German was always going to be that person, but also right after there's a little bit of episode that you can kind of see like right after I'd make my decision, I like pulled German immediately, and I'm like, I did this for you because I kind of already knew where his head was at. I kind of already knew that he kind of already had the votes to stay. So I kind of was just like, listen, like this was just me getting my look back a little bit. I do want you to stay, and I do feel as though like if we can like, you know, somehow come past this together, like, you know, we can do it. And you know, we sure as hell did it.
Yeah. You did make an unforced error. So in episode 6 for the Golden Gates Bridge, of course, you make an unforced error. Maybe would have caused you the win, but what was your take on Maddie eliminating Beck from the competition? Did you read into that at all?
I didn't, but
Okay.
and I did, and obviously like I'm not paying attention to it at all. Like the competition, I'm more focused on like the steps. So like I didn't even notice Beck winking at Maddie. So like I'm just more focused on like, you know, trying to like make sure like, hey, like this is actually something that, you know, if something were to happen, like, I can win potentially. So I didn't really think about Maddie eliminating Beck there at all, but also like I kind of watching back the episodes, understanding that Beck was also really good socially. Like all of these people are amazing game players, every single one of them.
Yeah.
And so I do feel as though like she, in her best interest, didn't want Omni because she did feel as though she had a really good middle position. So I didn't really quite pick up on that. And also I didn't really like, think about that at all. I'm just more focused. My head was in the game trying to win. So
Yeah. What's it? Kyle, can you talk about were there any fun prizes or, punishments, happiness, whatever that didn't get shown? Because it looked like there were about 20 that didn't get flipped over.
So we had a lot of ideas, but then we came up with the Dark Council, and so we decided that most of like the prizes and punishments, which I mean, they're mainly punishments and hindrance and humiliation. So most of those were going to be the Dark Council. So we took away. There was going to be a costume under there, but we took that away because we were like, oh, it'll be more fun with the Dark Council. So every line had either a punishment or like a money prize, which the prizes were all money, just small little amounts. The point was the first 4 were all money. We were hoping people would be like, ooh, if we want to throw the competition, we can just go to a random dot and maybe get like a few dollars. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, there's eliminations under here. And there was half of them were eliminate someone else, half of them were eliminate yourself. But then Maddie found a workaround that it technically just did say eliminate one contender, not another contender. And I'm like, those are the rules. You got me. I'll allow it. So yeah, we did it so that there would always be 2 people left if all of them were taken. We didn't want there to be like only one person left and they just win by default. But now that we saw this and like they got so lucky at the beginning, they went through like 7 or 8 with only one mistake. So we're like, okay, maybe we can do it where there's more eliminations and then worst case, someone can just win by default. I don't know. It probably won't happen. But if we ever did it again, we have some room to work with about what. But yeah, it was just money and eliminations this season.
Yeah. Oh, it sounds fun. So the Golden Gates Bridge, you get very close but do not win. Did you think that Julia had you on her radar? I mean, you knew you were the target for the house, but did you think Julia was on to you at this point?
I mean, like, obviously, I didn't expect it, but I wasn't, like, I don't know. Like, again, Julia is somebody that I actually knew of and actually met in passing one time at, like, a watch party forever ago. But Julia, again, is also, this, just to speak very positively of this cast, like, this cast was all stars. Everybody knew what they signed up for, and everybody knew what they were going to get themselves into. But again, Julie is somebody that makes you feel that you're very good with them. And I felt as though like, okay, yeah, like, okay, let's eat it up. And of course, like, it is unfortunate that like I'm the house target, and like that's like the main reason for me kind of going into the Omni this round, on top of the fact that if Julia didn't win, I would have. And there's also, and I'm actually kind of very happy that this wasn't shown. I didn't think this was going to get shown, but like when we go into like the next competition, I have a little bit of a crash out moment. And it was, and like it was warranted, and obviously because like 3 rounds in, like, come on, people.
Yeah.
But it's just like,
Well,
it was to be expected. Obviously, I wasn't happy about it, but it was to be expected. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think you would be the first or the last person to crash out this season. So.
Oh God, I'm forever. Oh my God, wait, stay tuned, friends. Stay tuned.
Wow. Yeah. So other than that, you did say you didn't want to drag anyone in your confessional. I kind of don't believe you at this point.
It's so funny because like I feel as though, correct me if I'm wrong, but every time I was in the pits, I did get the opportunity to drag somebody. I think.
No, not the first time you
Not
were
the
in.
first time. Not the first time. Not the very first time, but the second time and the third. So and second and
Yes.
third. So yeah. I mean, at this point, I kind of just already had more blood on my hands, so why not?
Yeah.
Well, why did
Becky-
you only talk to Beck?
You gave us 5 minutes. That is not
Okay.
my fault. You gave us 5 minutes.
I don't
I'm a
remember the
talker.
time.
I was 5 minutes, and I'm a talker. And then I've also like from hearing instances of like everybody else and like how the game was going. Like that is the only opportunity that I was presented with that like I could have stayed, even though like even though like the writing was on the wall anyways. But from in my head in that moment, I could have made another decision. I feel as though I could have had 2 votes if I were to drag somebody else in, but I still probably would have went home regardless. So teach their own.
No, I do think Beck is probably the next in line for house targets, and we'll see how that pays off in the next episode.
Mhm.
But I think it was the correct decision at that point. It just didn't seem like any combination of a pit would save you at that stage in the game. It does seem like it was very strange to me that John was almost on the verge of tears / crying when he was having the conversation with you. Can you talk us through why you think he was so emotional for that conversation?
To give you a little bit of backstory, I met John and Kyle in the same LRG where I was just, making burnt ass baked potatoes and cheese quesadillas the whole time. But we met each other at the same LRG, and I had very flocked to Kyle and John. They were y'all a duo then? I forget.
Oh yeah, we got assigned
That's
duos randomly.
That's what I thought.
To me
So yeah,
him.
and like that's what I thought. So in that respective LRG, I just like obviously being on the outskirts watching the game, but like also having like favorites and want everybody to do well. Like Kyle and John were people that I've never met before that I really flocked to, and we just became really really close. And since then, like I've just I've always had them in my corner, and I'm always going to be in theirs. And John was somebody that I was very excited to see. I knew that he was a part of production for season 1. And going into it, I didn't even think of anybody that was going to be playing until like Rachel clocked me for sending a Snapchat at an airport at 6 a.m. in the morning. She's like, "Where are you going?" And I'm like, "Nowhere. I literally did some like bullshit line. I'm like, I'm at a doctor's office." and then not knowing, I still think my location was on Snapchat. And she was like, it says you're somewhere else. Like, where are you going? And then I'm like, okay, so I got clocked, and I'm like, I tell her blah 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 this. She's like, shut up. And then I actually see Rachel and German walking off at the fucking airport together. So like we all kind of like walk in the airport together. I'm like, oh, let's do this, and we did it. So yeah. So, but I loved meeting John and Kyle at the LRG that we were at, and I loved like seeing them in person and playing Kyle's game and owing it to John that like John is somebody that I just love. He's amazing, and like I really needed his energy in that moment, and it was a very like raw emotional moment to where he knew that I kind of didn't have the votes to stay. I kind of knew it as well, but like if I would have had like any of them, I figured it would have been his. So, but yeah, it was a very emotional moment for both of us.
Yeah. The votes do come in 4 to 3 to 1. Was there anyone you were surprised didn't vote for you?
No, not really. I mean, you'd expect. I mean, I was consoling Trish the whole time, but like it's fine. But I wasn't expecting. I'm glad I got the 1 vote to stay though. But yeah, I wasn't expecting anybody to just outright save me. I mean, pity votes are nice, but I wasn't expecting it at this point.
Yeah. Well, the good news is that you get to hang out with all of your friends who got eliminated beforehand, and allies, of course.
Yeah.
But was there any part of your game that you feel like we didn't get to see on the show?
Just a little like messy boots HGC era. No, like again, like my game from the type of gameplay that like I have and the type of game that Golden Gates is, do better. do better. We could do all the social things in the world, but stick to it, find your people, find your niche, and just make sure you can move her throughout the waves, because it is a different type of game. You're going to save people this time. So yeah. I'm actually very happy with how the episodes turned out, and not making me look like that much of a hot girl clown that I know that I can be. So so no, I wouldn't change a thing. The experience as a whole was so much fun.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Kyle, were there any Easter eggs or tidbits that we missed in this episode?
Ooh.
We didn't really get a chance to talk about Dark Council, but
besides my crash out moment that thank
Yes.
God no one saw. But yeah.
not making the secret scenes apparently.
Oh,
It's-
was that on camera? What competition?
I believe so. It was during the blacklight competition. It was right after we finished.
Oh,
and
was
it
it
just
when you went to the theater room?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, none of the theater room was in the episode, but every time someone did a heat, we moved them to the theater room in the garage, and they just got to hang out. But it was just a lot of mingling. But now I want to go watch it.
It was more mingling. I was irritated with the way the game was going.
It probably seemed worse in your head than it actually was.
It probably was.
You just were upset, yeah.
Yeah, but everyone deserves a crash out moment. So.
Yeah. Thank you so much for being on the podcast. Do you have any upcoming projects or social media that you want to shout out?
Follow me everywhere. Chris is a hot girl. Instagram, Snapchat, everything. And who knows? You'll never figure out. You might figure out soon where the hot girl will end up. Who knows? But yeah.
Yeah.
Thank
Kyle,
you guys so much for having me.
Of course, it's always a pleasure. Kyle, we know episode 7 is already out. Do you want to talk about the watch party?
What do you mean watch party?
The finale watch party.
Oh yes, of course. Well, so for episode 7, I was going to say, tune in for DHGC. Chris joins the Dark Council and adds another whole word to his name. Dark Hot Girl Chris. And oh yes, the watch party. So the same premiere. We had a premiere watch party at Rumors. It's a bar in South Columbus, and we had so many people show up. It was really, really fun. So we said, okay, we're going to do it again for the finale, and we're doing it. It's December 5th. So the finale for everybody will be out December 5th at 8 p.m. Eastern. And yeah, you'll get to see a lot of good content and figure out who wins.
Yeah. And I'm sure I'll have a very busy 2 weeks after that, interviewing all 15 people. Yeah, I don't know.
We're done with 6 of 15.
Yeah. Can you talk about, is episode 8 a double? Is that public info? No.
It's not.
We'll see when we get there.
It's not 8.
All right. Well, anyways, I've been Gible. If you want to follow me on social media at Duck7Man. Watch Survivor at AU, LRG Indiana on Instagram and on YouTube. Check that out. Other than that, thank you, Steve, for watching so much. We'll have episode 7 coming out sometime in the next week.
The 7 is out.
I'll have the 7 exit
video
set up sometime in the next week.
8 isn't the double, but it is the finale of the Dark Council, and so that's that episode.
Gotta stay tuned, friends. Dark Councils are coming, and we're coming.
So if you've enjoyed seeing all the episodes of my exit interviews and you like the people, except for John, of course, tune in to episode 8 for the Dark Council as well, and episode 7. Other than that, I've been Gible. This is Kyle Gates and Hot Girl Chris. Thank you so much for joining me on the show. Thank you for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next episode. Peace.
Bye.